And then there were 8. Wild card weekend has come and gone with more or less little to no surprise on which teams who won. I know it's the first time that all the home teams won in a good while. Last year, all road teams won in wild card weekend. This year, all the home teams. And Madden just slightly on its path of being inconsistent and getting last week's wild card weekend matchup, the New York Giants versus the Green Bay Packers, wrong. They were predicting that the Giants would pull off the stunning come from behind win and upset, you could say, against Green Bay Packers, but nope, that did not happen. Green Bay ended up winning 38-13 over the New York Giants. This week, though, in the divisional round, we got 4 great matchups, but we have a rematch. Well, all four games this weekend are rematches from the regular season, but this one I felt had the most impact because it was a little lopsided earlier in the season compared to where the teams are at now. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Kansas City Chiefs as my divisional round game of the week. Because more or less, how much these two teams are so much different compared to when they met. Oh, where was it? Set to go now on a wet and rainy afternoon. They met back in week 4 where Pittsburgh just demolished Kansas City. But might I add, that was in Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh was a totally different team, and the week before the Kansas City Chiefs went on a bye. But more on this game later. Let's go and recap on what happened this past weekend during the wild card weekend. I went 2 for 2 when it came to my picks. I thought somehow Oakland would find a way to beat Houston and that Miami would pull off the upset. Well, I was dead wrong with those, but I did get Seattle and Green Bay. Got those picks right. But let's start with more or less the more competitive game, or close game. Oakland versus Houston. I mean, that was the closest game in retrospect.
And certainly a key cog in this offensive wheel is Jeremy Maclin.
You've just got to find ways to get him the ball.
That was the Houston won that game, 27-14. It was the closest scoring-wise. Houston only won by 13 points, but Oakland still had a chance, but even with their third-string quarterback who threw for, well, if I can find that stat real quick. Let's go. Connor Cook, first time ever a QB guy start in the post, or first ever career start in the postseason, was first quarterback to ever do so.
On the ground, this is where, and very little running room there.
Let's see. Connor Cook for the Oakland Raiders went 18 for 45. He passed the ball 45 times and only completed 18 of those with 161 yards. Compared to Brock Osweiler, who threw the ball only 25 times but connected on 14 of those and had 168 yards. So 7-yard difference. That's not so bad. But another big difference is that Cook had 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions and got sacked 3 times, while Brock Osweiler had 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and 0 sacks. So, sure, they got that little more experience, but But ever since Oakland lost Derek Carr, they have never been the same team, and that's why, you know, maybe Derek Carr should be given that MVP treatment. But like I said, it was a little more closer. But move on to the next game, which, oh my goodness. Now I may be a little biased, but you know, how many sports analysts aren't? Not to say I'm a true sports analyst. I'm just a fan, and I see it how it is. And in the next game was Detroit versus Seattle, and it started off slow as well. Detroit was only down by 4 or 7, a touchdown come halftime. It was 10-6 or 10-3 Seattle. And after the third quarter, it was 6-10. So you still had a good defensive battle struggle, but Seattle was just running the ball all over the Lions. And it just seemed like they could not stop them, but they were still in the game. They were still competing. They were still in it. But once the fourth quarter hit, Seattle just took control. But the thing is, it always seems like watching a Seattle Seahawks game, especially when Seattle's the home team, the referees just seem biased. Total bias. And that just might be me not liking Seattle. It's just so frustrating to watch sometimes because the referees did not get a good start going because Detroit got the ball first and punted the ball away. And on the first punt of the game, there was a clear block in the back on Detroit, which you don't see too much when you see or hear about a block in the back penalty. It's usually on the returning team or the team with the ball running, so on and so forth. But this was on the punting team, and the referee first called it on Seattle, and like, no, correction, blocking back on the punting team, 15-yard penalty, 10-yard penalty, whatever. But when it came to the first touchdown of the game, I mean, not to take anything away from Paul Richardson, two-yard, fourth and goal touchdown catch, but he was all over the defender. Ball was a little thrown underhanded. Defender may have, slowed down, not facing the ball, which, when you have a defender not looking at the ball, it's more or less going to be defensive pass interference. But he stops, and Richardson goes, yanks the face mask. He leaps forward to try to lean to catch it. Left arm goes out, catches it. His right arm's all over the face mask of the defender. Makes the incredible one-handed catch. Flag is thrown, and it's on the defensive pass interference. Like, ref, how blind are you? How can you miss the guy? Oh, excuse me. Guy yanking all over the face mask. And it just got worse from there, in my opinion. Detroit being called for roughing the passer, like, I don't know. It didn't look, in my opinion, it looked like there was enough time. Didn't hit the helmet of Russell Wilson. There was no rough. Later on, Matthew Stafford, he gets wrapped up, not taken to the ground. Whistle starts blowing, and then another defender picks him up by the legs. Like, when you were kids, you picked up a sibling or a friend, but you had two other friends. They picked you up by the legs and shoulders and swung you, and like tossed you on the bed or something. That's like what they did to Matthew Stafford and threw him to the ground. Ref's like, no, that's okay. So, but Seattle then just broke out in the the fourth, getting 16 unanswered points and winning 26-6.
When they see a guy running the ball well,
And
some of them want
you
to
know,
immediately go
once
play
again,
action and throw it now 'cause it's wide open.
Seattle has not
The
lost
coach
a home
said, "You know
game
something? Until they stop him,
for a
that
while
big boy's
in the
gonna keep getting
playoffs.
the
I forget the
football."
last time they
And
lost
that
at
might be
home in the
direction
playoffs,
that
but
they're
they have the
going
current
right now.
streak. But it just got uglier from there, you could say. The closest game was, Oakland-Houston, then it was then 26-6. Seattle over Detroit. Come Sunday, you had Pittsburgh versus Miami in the early game, and boy oh boy did Pittsburgh just starts fast and couldn't be stopped. I mean, like the third play of the game, Ben Roethlisberger passes to Antonio Brown. It's just like a little screen, wide out screen, and Antonio Brown goes 50 yards down the sideline, touchdown. Okay. Miami gets ball. They couldn't go anywhere. They give it back to Pittsburgh. I don't know how many plays later there. 1, 2, but Antonio Brown's second catch of the day, 62-yard catch and run for the touchdown. It's like, geez, this game's over. And finally, Miami got on the board with a field goal in the first, but it was well over before then.
Other quarterbacks get it done different ways, all right? You don't have to be his height.
Because then the Le'Veon Bell showed up, and he just started running all over everybody. And Pittsburgh ended up winning 30-12. And little side note, after the game, near the end of the game, Roethlisberger got sacked, and after the game, he was walking around with a walking boot on. And, questions become, oh, is he good? Is he healthy? And so on and so forth. I'm pretty sure he's going to be healthy for this game.
That's going to feel good and look great in film.
Because that was the first time that when it came to the playoffs, that Pittsburgh had Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. So, I mean, they had their triplets, and it just showed that didn't matter. Pittsburgh was all over Miami. And then last but not least, to wrap up Wild Card Weekend was Green Bay hosting the New York Giants. The Giants, the last two times coming to Lambeau Field, back in 2007 in the NFC Championship game, they beat them. And the 2011 Divisional round, they came into town and beat the 15-1 Green Bay Packers. And so they just had their number, and Eli Manning was 2-0. But, to start off the week, Odell Beckham Jr. and his wide receiving core, it's like, we're going to go in Miami, relax a little bit, take some selfies on the boat, and just relax. And then we'll get back to practice and focus on the game. Well, it did not work out in his favor. I mean, the Giants jumped out to a 6-0 lead, but just before halftime, Green Bay struck twice at 2:20. Rodgers had a 5-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Adams, and then on a 4th and 2 with 6 or 7 seconds left, Aaron Rodgers just chucks a 42-yard Hail Mary, and somehow there's a huge crowd in the end zone, and Randall Cobb is standing right behind all of them. The ball just lands in his hands. He just somehow makes the catch behind everybody, and they get a touchdown to end the half and go up 14-6 at halftime. And now, a little flashback that back in that 2011 Divisional round game, the Giants were winning. It was either 10-13 or something like that. And just before halftime, Eli threw up a prayer, and Hakeem Nicks comes down with it, and they go up 20-10 or something at halftime back in 2011. And it's like all the momentum shifted. And for the most part, in this game, Green Bay, New York, the momentum did shift. But also just prior to the half, I forget when, but Packers lost Jordy Nelson. He took a nasty helmet shot in the ribs, and oof. It's one of those hits like, it's like, doesn't look too bad, but yet, you know, he just got hit just right. And I know I forgot something about the Miami-Pittsburgh game that I might go back to in a little bit, but Green Bay goes up 14-6 at the half. They get the ball. I forget if it was on their opening drive or not. I don't think so, but they come out. This was near the end of the third quarter. What, 6 minutes left or so? It's 4th and 1, 4th and 2 at their own like 41-yard line. And Green Bay, it's like, oh, this drive was going well. And it's like, okay, McCarthy said we're going for it.
3 yards remaining here on second down.
Instead of punting for it, you got an 8-point lead. You try and go for it on your own 41. Just get a first down. You go for it and you get stuffed. Ball turnover on down, and like 1 or 2 plays later, the Giants, they score a touchdown, pull within 1. But more or less, that was it. That was when you thought it's like, oh, the momentum has shifted. Well, you were wrong. The momentum shifted into Green Bay's favor because they scored 24 unanswered points after that. Packers answered with a 30-yard Randall Cobb touchdown, a 32-yard Crosby field goal in the last 3 minutes of the third quarter alone. Fourth quarter, Rodgers hits Randall Cobb for a 16-yard pass touchdown, and Aaron Ripkowski hits a 1-yard rushing touchdown with about 2:43 left in the game, and that sealed the deal. And Green Bay finally got over that hump against the Giants. And Cobb, who was questionable all week, comes out and has one of the best playoff games of his career.
And a nice special teams job here.
And so with those 4 teams winning, that sets up a divisional round that looks like this. On Saturday, the early game, you have Seattle at Atlanta, followed by Houston at New England. And on Sunday, you have Pittsburgh versus Kansas City in the early one, and Green Bay versus Dallas in the late one. And all 4 games, well, 3 of the 4, look like they're going to be some good slobber knockers. And the Houston-New England game, it's like, well, unless unless everyone gets in a bus accident to the stadium or something, we will see the winner of the Kansas City-Pittsburgh game in New England come next week. But you never know. Houston has the #1 defense. New England's got the #1 scoring defense. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But all 4 games are rematches from earlier this season. Only that Houston-New England game is a rematch in the same place. What was it, week 3, week 4, week 3? On a short week, Houston went up to New England when Tom Brady was still suspended on a Thursday night, and Houston was shut out. And so they're returning to New England. They're returning to New England, and hopefully, maybe they can score some points this time. While the other 3 games are rematches from earlier in the season, but they're all flip-flop. Let's see something. I know the... That's not what I want.
8 yards on the pickup there, and it moves the sticks.
All these games or rematches from almost like way earlier in the season. Like the Dallas Cowboys versus Green Bay Packers, they played in week. They played in week 6. Atlanta, Seattle. That was week 6 as well.
I was just going to ask you, that wasn't the primary target.
New England, Houston. I already said that was week 3. In Kansas City, Pittsburgh. That I know I said earlier that was week 4. So. For the most part, 10, not even 10, more than 10, like 12 weeks to,
now he's got to probably think about going to the air instead of maybe staying with the ground game.
12 to 16 week differences between the last time all of these teams have met each other. Which I find the irony that both Green Bay, Dallas, and Atlanta, Seattle are rematches from week 6. And
we're back to Arrowhead after
the
this presentation of the NFL on EA Sports is brought to you by Gatorade.
Let's see.
Sports Fuel Company.
Only Dallas was the road team against Green Bay, and they won. Now they're the home team. While Atlanta and Kansas City were both the road teams and lost to the home teams, Seattle and Pittsburgh, respectively. So we'll see. And I do believe all the home teams are favored this week. New England has a 15-point favorite to win. That's like the largest in I don't know how many years. Atlanta has a 5-point. Kansas City is a 1.5, and Dallas is 4.5. But before getting on to more of the divisional round, the wild card weekend was the most lopsided weekend in a long time. It was the lopsided victory since 1981. That's at least 10 years prior to this current format.
Now whistles here before the snap, and it looks like one of the Steelers may have moved.
Come on.
Still second down.
And here comes
I'm
play
sure.
number 6 on this drive.
Here we go. This is the thing I want to find.
After the penalty, it's Bell. Yardage on the play back at the 45-yard line. It's a loss of
those 4 games this past weekend, the wild card weekend. The total margin of victory was 76 points. That's 19 points differential average, and the highest of any wild card weekend since 1981, making this opening round the most lopsided since the expansion to 4 teams in 1990. And like I said, after the Oakland-Houston game, which looked like not, more of a defensive game, but just like, who wants to watch this anyways? It goes from that to just blowout cities. So hopefully, these weekend games. Don't know about Houston, New England. It might be the opposite. The first game might be the blowout, while the other 3 are just so close, so fun to watch. But before we get to this weekend's games, some other NFL news. The biggest one of them all that happened just recently, that the San Diego Chargers are no more. Last year you had 3 teams filed for relocation, and only the St. Louis Rams got the approval to to move to LA. But there was a clause in there saying that, hey, if nothing gets, like, San Diego has the right to, if they want, to relocate to LA first and share share the up-and-coming future City of Champions stadiums with the Los Angeles Rams when that is finally built. If they choose not to, the Raiders, Oakland Raiders, have the ability to join the Rams instead. But since San Diego, the Chargers cannot get stadium proposal approved this past November, it was just a matter of time that you knew the Chargers were going to get up and move. And it's sad. I've talked about this before. When a professional sports team in a city cannot get the fundings either from the taxpayers or from even the billion-dollar owners to build a brand new or renovate a stadium to keep a team in the city. And it's like, right there and then when the they had a vote on the ballot and the city said no, thanks but no thanks. It was only a matter of time that it was only a matter of time that say, hey, we like the team, but we're not going to pay for the money. And it's like that. Like I said before, that's more or less the sign saying you knew that they're going to get up and leave. And it's sad because but I try and look at the bright side of it, that, hey, they're only moving 2 hours to the north. I mean, their fans are closer compared to, say, the Rams from St. Louis. They're halfway across the country. At least the true dedicated fans, if they're willing to travel 2 hours north to catch a Chargers game, good for them. But the thing is, the one thing that really irks me here is that the next 2 seasons, they go from Qualcomm Stadium, which combination of football, baseball stadium, and with the capacity of 70,561, they go from that, a 70,000 stadium to a here it is, to the StubHub Center, which capacity is 30,000. Second down now after the pass completion. And is the home to the LA Galaxy of the Major League Soccer. It's like, how do you expect to have 16 home games over the next 2 seasons with a maximum capacity of 30,000? And the real question is, if you can't sell out, how are you supposed to sell out the new stadium? And the whole other controversy or question is like, okay, 2 years ago, Los Angeles was reaching the 20-year mark of no football. And it always seemed like with Roger Goodell, we need football in Los Angeles. Well, the football has survived without the last 20 years without the team in Los Angeles, so why do we need one? And it's like, when St. Louis did not agree on to approve of their new stadium for the Rams, and it didn't seem like even if they could or would or could have, the Rams were going to get up and move back to LA anyways. And, you know, they got one team back. It's like, yay. And, of course, they were almost the worst team in the NFC West. The 49ers were much worse. But, I mean, they were lackluster. And LA's like, yeah. And now, 1 year to the date, the Chargers be like, we're heading north. And they were the worst team in the AFC West. And you're going to be playing in a 30,000 capacity stadium. Waiting on for that, though. How big is the new stadium that them and the Rams would be sharing? About 75,000. And so it's like, ooh. But the next 2 seasons, you have to play in a 30,000 capacity stadium that's made for soccer. It's sad and pathetic. And what else? The owner, you know, apologizes to be like, I'd like to thank everyone, you know, for. I mean, well, technically the Chargers, their first year in the AFL, they were in Los Angeles, then they moved south. And I don't know. It's just, it's sad, but you saw it coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. So, hopefully we can see what happens with the new Los Angeles Chargers. It just seems like every place I go and look up stuff, it's like it's not going to work. In like 5-10 years, both teams will be gone. What else? It's just like they go from none to 2, and there's no point. It's not going to work. If you're not the best team, no one's going to care about you. You're not going to get drilled by the media like if you were New York. Los Angeles isn't really a football town and stuff like that. So, who knows? Who knows? So we'll see what happens with that. Other news out there, we've had we had six coaches either fired, retired, or let go, whatever. And 4 of them have been filled so far. The Bills have decided to hire Sean McDermott. He was the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. Denver Broncos decided to hire Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator for Miami. Jacksonville decided to promote Doug Marrone. He was the head coach for the Bills, and then he decided to walk away from that. I mean, I think he was also the head coach of the Syracuse Orange. Yeah, he was the head coach. Well, he was the head coach for Syracuse Orange from 2009 to 2012. And then he just went across the state a little bit to Buffalo, become the head coach for the Bills in 2014. And then he just he decided to walk away. And he finished the
10-play drive that
and
and it ends with the Steelers finding the end zone.
That's 4 and 12. His second season, he finished 9-7, second place in the AFC East, and 2 wins away from making the playoffs. It was their first winning season in Buffalo since 2004. Yeah, Marrone had a 3-day out clause in his contract in the event of an ownership change. Marrone exercised the out clause and resigned 31st December of 2014, and still collected his 2015 salary, and walked away. And then he was the offensive coordinator in Jacksonville. He was 2 games of the season for Jacksonville, and now he's the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jags. So we'll see how that turns out. And then last but not least, the Los Angeles Rams hired Sean McVay. What is his experience? Or is that official? Yes, he was hired, which made him the youngest head coach in Super Bowl era, surpassing Lane Kiffin. He's only 30 years old. And he was the offensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins. So, 4 coaches down, 2 to go. And one of those is the Chargers. So, you got to get a new head coach to coach the new located team, the LA Chargers. We'll see how that turns out. And the San Francisco 49ers, they're still looking for a head coach and a general manager. And going back to Jacksonville, they decided to hire Tom Coughlin, their first ever head coach. There was question about that he might be brought back as their new head coach and stuff like that. At 70-something, I don't think that would have been wise, but he got hired as a EVP-FO, some front office. Was hired as executive vice president of football operations. So, not quite general manager, but somewhere up there. So, that, those are your moves, your team moving to LA. You have 4 new head coaches in the NFL. And what's his name? Sean McVay. It'll be interesting. I mean, he's only 30 years old. He's about the average age of your NFL player, if not slightly older. And it's always interesting if getting those younger coaches, like how well can they do? Can they discipline these players who are not quite 5 to 10 years younger than him? And to be honest, I like to see younger coaches, and hopefully they can thrive and coach for a very long time if they're successful. But it's more or less you can't relate to them. You have to make sure you're disciplined. So it'll be interesting to see how those coaches turn out. Well, we got about 4 minutes left in this game, and Pittsburgh is up by 7. Well, it's a good close game. I know I looked into the weather forecast. It said rain pellets are expected in Kansas City come Sunday. So we might have ourselves a little sloppy game on Sunday afternoon, which, in my opinion, is great football weather. I mean, the 2 NFC games are going to be held in domes, while the 2 AFC teams are going to be out in the elements. I don't know what the weather forecast is going to be like in New England, but the middle of January, it's always going to be cold no matter where you go.
And once again, leverage wins. The offensive line lower than the defensive front. They moved them and found some good space for the guy carrying the ball.
I'm sure there's some other news that's been going around. You always have a bunch of college players declaring for the draft. More or less the big topic of the day was the Chargers. And just sad, and see how that all turns out. But let's turn our attention to the Sunday's matchups. Like I said earlier, the 4 games are all rematches from earlier in the season. Only one is going to be a rematch in the same place. Last week we had 3 games for rematches from all 4. And just the Houston New England game, that's the same place, not quite same time, but it's going to be in the same place. And the other 3, they're flip-flop. And the teams that won when and where, they have all flip-flopped as well. So I'm always one of superstitious. So, and like, change of scenery, change of victory. So we'll see, and let's dive into the 4 games then, starting with Atlanta starting with Houston. What's the first game? Yes, okay. We're starting with Seattle at Atlanta. There we go, I said. Like I said, they met earlier this year in Week 6, where Seattle had a little scare, but with ending in a controversial no offensive pass interference penalty, they end up winning 26-24. The Atlanta scored 21 unanswered points in the third quarter alone to take a 24-17 lead, but Seattle was able to come back. Come back and score 9 points to secure their victory. And as I've said before, it always seems like Seattle has the referees on their side when it comes to close games. Seattle's just a totally different team at home compared to on the road. And let's see if I can find that stat for.
And Santos able to put this one up and through. It's good.
Ooh, so Kansas City gets on the board with about a minute 23 left in the first half. Don't know how good or not that's going to be, but let's see now, real quick. Seattle was 3-4-1 on the road, while Atlanta was 5-3 at home. So Atlanta has that home field advantage. What else did I say? Oh no, I don't have it there. Let's pop this up. Beep boop. Atlanta is a 5-point favorite against Seattle, but these are two totally different teams. I don't care what you say, that got the same personnel, same people, so on and so forth. When you haven't faced a team in almost 3-4 months, Ooh, 3 months or so, it's not the same team. But what else? I know Atlanta is the highest scoring offense this year. And let's see, Atlanta is 540. Seattle 354. So they're not they don't give up, they don't score too much, but yet they've only given up 292 points, while Atlanta has given up 406. So Atlanta might hit, they have outscored their opponents by 134 points, but it just shows that Seattle has a good defense, and they've outscored their opponents by 62 points. Trying to think of what are some good storylines here. Oh well, the head coach for Atlanta is it Dan Quinn, former coordinator. Yes, former defensive coordinator, if I am correct, for Seattle. Yes, defensive coordinator from 2013 to 2014, and he was 8-8 last year with Atlanta, and now 11-5. First in the South, 2 in the conference. But another interesting stat: when the pupil has faced the teacher, they have never won a playoff game. They've never won a playoff game against their master, you could say, and that's saying something. So, and I think there's 2 of those games going on this weekend with Houston and New England and Seattle and Atlanta. Atlanta and Houston, their head coaches are the pupils, the students, and New England and Seattle, those are the teachers. So it comes down to Atlanta's going to score. It just depends on how much are they going to score. You know, they're home. Matty Ice in his environment. Matty Ice has only won 1 playoff game, and that was against Seattle back in 2012, where they had to kick a game-winning field goal as time expired. Well, not when time expired, but 7 seconds left on the clock or something like that.
First down following that long gain.
So,
They'll come out in the pistol.
can Seattle's defense hold down the fort against Atlanta, or will they just be exposed and Atlanta just runs wild and looking forward to either hosting the Packers or heading to Dallas and be 1 win away from the Super Bowl? We're going to have a great matchup with Julio Jones versus Richard Sherman. I'm not a big Richard Sherman fan. I just think he's a little hot-headed. He's a big head. He's a good cornerback, but sometimes he can easily get under your skin. So it's going to be a good way to start the divisional round. Are these 2 teams? And all honesty, I think Atlanta's just going to take care of business. They're going to rack up the scoring. I don't think Seattle's going to stop them from scoring more than 30 points. The question becomes, can Seattle can counteract that? It's very possible, but I highly doubt it, because I just think Russell Wilson, he's just going to get too flustered with Atlanta's defense, and Atlanta ends up winning that game. So, for the most part, I like Atlanta. I want to see Atlanta win. We move on to the second game of the day, and that's Houston at New England. These 2 teams met back in week 3 when Tom Brady was suspended. Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt, and so they were down to their 3rd-string quarterback, who the guy's name just slips my mind at the moment. Let's see. Jacoby Brissett. Brisket does sound good. But Brissett, and it was 27-0. So, and that was also the last time J.J. Watt played. Not saying he contribute or benefit at all in that game, but I mean, Houston just was rattled, and but somehow they finished the regular season with the number one defense. So it'll be interesting, to see how their defense does match up. I mean, Javion Clowney, he has stepped up in the absence of J.J. Watt, and just imagine how great that defensive line would be when J.J.'s healthy and they got Clowney, when both are healthy and just going after that quarterback. And obviously everyone's like, oh, New England, they're going to get 2 byes. They got the legit bye for being the number 1 team in the AFC, and then whoever ends up winning, whoever they played next, and that they might have some little to no competition in the AFC Championship game. But the only way Houston can make a game and get pressure onto New England is basically that. If they can just somehow disrupt Tom Brady, they get to Brady like every single down. But I think LeGarrette Blount, he's going to add balance to New England. And even if they don't have Gronkowski, they have other no-name wide receivers that have names now, and just they know how to catch. And New England is just ready to come out, and it's really rare to see New England lose a home playoff game. I mean, New England was 6-2 at home. They lost to Buffalo week 4 in Seattle. I forget what week that was. Let's see if.
Gonna bring our halftime report to a close. We'll go back now to Arrowhead Stadium.
No, I didn't do
for
that.
the third quarter.
I did that game. Oh well. But anyways, whenever they met. But New England is 6-2 at home, while Houston is 2-6 on the road. Let's see if I find out who. What 2 road games? It had to be. Was that within their division? Probably. And lost that one. Their only 2 road victories were at Jacksonville and at Indianapolis.
Both teams appear ready for the
So,
fight ahead, and we resume action here in quarter number 3. This
so
one
we'll
taken
see.
from the
We'll
7th.
see. Don't need that page up anymore. New England has outscored their opponents by 191 points. They scored 441 and only gave up 250. New England has the #1 scoring defense, which means, they gave up the fewest number of points. While Houston has scored 279 points and has given up 328, so they're minus 49.
And I can just hear the coaches now. I can hear the head coach. Guys,
So,
first 5 minutes. First
I mean,
series
I
of the
really
second
don't
half.
like
Offense
Houston
or
in this
defense,
one. I think
you
New
gotta
England,
set the tone.
I got to go with the favorite. And it is ridiculous how much New England is favored in this game by 15 points. If this game isn't over by the second quarter, I just don't know then. So I really like New England in this one. I don't see how Houston can compete at all unless some major injuries happen. But you know what they say, it's any given day, any given Sunday, anything can happen. So, New England, I don't know how to bet against them. But I'm a betting man, but I ain't, I may be crazy, but I'm not stupid. But those are your Saturday matchups. Looks like we'll start off with a good one and end with a sleeper. Then Sunday, though, both those games don't look like they disappoint at all. Like I said before, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, my game of the week. Rematch of, what did I say, week 5? Week 4. This is a week 4 rematch where Kansas City went to Pittsburgh and just got their butts handed to them. It did not look pretty. It was Pittsburgh won 43-14. And then they had their bye, and then they only lost 2 more times after that. So they were 2-2 before the bye, and then they were 10-2 after their bye. So, and Andy Reid has this crazy statistic. He's like 19-3 after the bye, and like 2-1, 3-1 after the bye, and having a first round bye. So this is going to be Kansas City's defense versus Pittsburgh's offense. Can Kansas City stop the 3 Bs? Ben, Bell, and Brown. And obviously Miami had no answer for them last week. Brown 2 touchdowns of 50 yards plus. And Bell just running all over Miami. But Kansas City is not Miami. Kansas City is Kansas City. Ever since Andy Reid showed up, I think they've only missed the playoffs once. He's had winning. I think they've been. That's fun. Let's do this. Ever since he came to Kansas City back in 2013, he made the playoffs in 2013, 11-5, missed but finished with a winning record of 9-7 in 2014. But last year, 11-5, lost the New England divisional round, and now 12-4, his best record yet, win and divisional title. So I mean, it took him 3 years to win the NFC East when he was with Philly, and he did that 4 years in a row. So at this time, it took him 4 years to get his first divisional crown in the West. So, I mean, this ain't Andy Reid's first rodeo. Kansas City has scored 389 points and only give up 311, so they're plus 78. Well, Pittsburgh, they've scored 399 and given up 327, and so that's a plus 72. So I mean, both teams know how to score. Kansas City is more of a defensive team. They don't really have that big name offense of weapon at quarterback, running back, or wide receiver, except for you have the rookie sensation of Tyreek Hill. And Pittsburgh just needs to learn how to stay away from him when punting, when kicking off, and when he's out there on offense for Kansas City, either with the end arounds, with the handoffs, with the little screens, whatever. He's a little speed demon. He could put probably Antonio Brown or Bell to shame. So, in all honesty, I like the home team in this one, but Pittsburgh, you know, everyone talks about Green Bay, how they've won now 7 in a row, but no one talks about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh started the season, you know, crap. I think after their Week 4 win against Kansas City, they were what, 3-1. Okay, and then they only would win one more game before Week 11. They were 4-5 heading into Week 11, and then have won now 8 straight, including that playoff game. You know, they won 7 straight to end the season. Now they won the wild card weekend, so that's 8 in a row. So, and like, no one talks about how Pittsburgh at 4-5 came back, won the AFC North, and has been on a now 8-game win streak. No one talks about that. But I mean, you were only 1 game under 500 when you got back to 500 after beating up on the Browns and haven't lost since. Compared to Green Bay, who was 4-6, in 3rd place in the division, because Detroit and Minnesota were still ahead of them, and Green Bay from 4-6 goes 10-6, wins the North, and now wins a playoff game, and now they're in the divisional round. So I mean, you have the hot Steelers in the AFC, you have the Packers in the NFC. But like I said, you don't hear the same thing with the Steelers like you hear with the Packers. Like, oh, they were 4-5, and you know, they've won 7, 8 in a row now. So they're not saying they want to hear that, they want their respect and so forth, but it's just, you know, it's very similar. While on the flip side, Kansas City, you know, after that game, they had their bye, but only lost 2 more games. So these two teams have gone opposite directions. And when it comes to Pittsburgh on the road, though, Pittsburgh's a totally different team. But they're 5-3. Three of those losses came in when they were, 4-5. And some were just pathetic, like the Philly game, the Miami game. They were both on the road, and I forget what the other one might have been. I got some time. Let's see. Because they lost at Philly. That was their first loss of the season. They lost at Miami, and they lost at Baltimore. They only had 2 home losses, and that was that was with New England and Dallas. So,
to the sideline, and a nice catch there. Made sure the feet were inbounds, and they were.
So,
I do have to admit, I like it when it all comes together. When the top part,
but the thing is, Pittsburgh's a totally different team on the road, just like Seattle, in my opinion. And their remaining road games were after at Baltimore was at Cleveland, at Indianapolis, and at Cincinnati. So they only had 3 road games after that. They had 4 home games, and that was New York. Oh no, they were at Cleveland, at Indianapolis, at Buffalo, missed that one, and they were at Cincinnati. They had 4 road games and 3 home games, so I mean they bounced back.
You know he is, but he also expects
and
it.
while Kansas City, on the other hand, Kansas City is 6-2. They lost 2 road games and won 6, and won 6 home games and lost 2 of them. Let's see. I know the one home loss was against Tennessee near the end of the season. Their other home loss was against Tampa Bay, Week 11, and both of those teams, they were playoff caliber teams. Tennessee easily could have won the South if Marcus Mariota didn't go down. Tampa Bay, they just lost too many games down the stretch. Like Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay, I think, that lost to Dallas, and then they lost to New Orleans the following week, which really hurt them. They had a good shot of making the playoffs if they would have won that game. And maybe next year that Tampa Bay might be able to compete, but when it comes to Pittsburgh and Kansas City, I feel like this game may be the best one of them all, because both teams have good defenses. Both teams have decent offenses. Kansas City has a decent offense. Pittsburgh has an amazing offense. But Kansas City has a great defense, and we get to see how it goes up against the 3Bs. Woo! Woo! There we go. So, but I have to go with the home team in this one. And so far, I like the home team in the first 3 games. I don't know when the last time all the home teams swept the divisional round. Let's see if I can find that, maybe.
And the decision to bring it out, a good one, as he's up a yard
but
too shy of the 30.
As I speak and say that,
and here comes the Steelers defense making their way onto the field.
We move to the final game of the weekend.
They were out there, ended up leading to a touchdown.
So the only thing they didn't
And we have the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, this is a throwback to the 90s, because it seemed for like 3-4 years in a row, Green Bay and Dallas met each other in the divisional round. Always in Dallas, and Dallas always finding a way to win, which not really trampled or hurt Brett Favre's career, but it didn't hurt, but it didn't help.
And they're able to get this one across the 35.
And this is the first time in 2 years that they have met each other in the playoffs. As we all know what happened 2 years ago, the catch that was not. Des Bryant could not secure the ball as he heads to the ground. and Green Bay went on to win. This is yet again, like I said, a rematch from earlier in the season when Dallas came to Green Bay week 6, and they just took care of the Packers, winning by 14. It was 30-16, only Green Bay's second loss on the season, but just excuse me. But it would be their first 5 losses in a 6-week period. So that could have been the beginning of the unraveling part for the Packers. But, you know, like I said, they were 4-6. They came back. They won the North. Won against New York in the wild card weekend. Finished the season at 10-6. And all this momentum on their side. Dallas, what can I say? They got a 2-headed rookie demon back there, you could say. And I mean, Dak and Zeke. It's going to be interesting how they do in their first ever NFL playoff game. I mean, in my opinion, the MVP of the league goes to that Dallas front 5, to making holes for Ezekiel Elliott, protecting Dak, and just giving the Cowboys their 13-3 record of the season. You know, but there's only 2 teams that beat the Cowboys, and one team did it twice, and that was the New York Giants. And the other team was Philly, but that was just a garbage game at week 17. Cowboys did not show up for that game. Played a little bit of their starters. Tony Romo got some action, and it's like, okay, we want to just get everybody ready, set, and go for our bye in divisional round. And like, unlike the Giants, they did not go out partying, or at least we didn't hear about it on social media. And stuff like that. So,
it looks like we've got a dime set here.
It's just like, here we go. We're home. We beat the Packers, you know, week 6. We had our bye. We just kept on winning, and you know, we got nothing else to worry about. We got this in the bank. But I don't know. I feel like Green Bay's a whole different team. I mean, they lost Jordy Nelson, which is a big. Well, if he practiced on Saturday, he might play on Sunday. But I don't think the Packers need Jordy Nelson to win. But it wouldn't hurt to have him. But they went an entire season without him, and they did decent. They made the playoffs. They won their wildcard game last year, but they failed. You know, they lost, you know, on the last play in the divisional round last year against the Cardinals. But that's the different tale of tape. I mean, Dallas was 7-1 at home. Green Bay was 4-4 on the road, so they have a 50-50 chance of winning. Green Bay scored 432 points and gave up 388, so they're plus 44, while Dallas scored 421 and gave up 306, and that's a plus 115. So let's see, 388, 306. So okay, but Green Bay scored more. Do some math, but I don't want to. So it's just it's more of, we both know what the offenses can score. It's just whose defense is going to show up. Because like in the Green Bay New York game last week, that was a slow start. Green Bay punted on their first 5 possessions, and the Giants easily could jumped out to a 14-0 lead. But no, the Packers defense held. They forced 2 field goals, and then just before halftime, just all out of nowhere, here comes Green Bay. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, if they went for it on that 4th down play, the 6 points might have been the only points they scored all day. The Giants. I mean, Green Bay and Dallas has had playoff history. You know, first time they met in the playoffs was back in the '66 NFL Championship game, where the winner was going to go to the first AFL or NFL AFL Championship game, which is now known as the Super Bowl. Green Bay won that game. More or less, their most famous postseason game is the 1967 NFL Championship game in Green Bay, which is also known as the Ice Bowl. But after that, it's been all Dallas until 2 years ago. I mean, Green Bay won the first 2 playoff meetings, and after that, it's been all Dallas. So, it's, like I said, it just depends on what defense shows up. But you know what? As a Packer backer, I can't go against my team. My two Super Bowl teams are still alive, Kansas City and Green Bay, and then obviously I'm still going to pick the Packers. I think Green Bay can just find a way, just go ahead and do it. And Dallas is the 3rd playoff team in NFL history to have a rookie quarterback and rookie running back to make the playoffs. And the other 2 teams, Indianapolis Colts in 2012 and the Washington Redskins in 2012, they both lost. And it's like, well, either you go with, you know, the stat there, or you know, you go with whatever. And now I lost my train of thought. Anyways, because some breaking news just coming in. It sounds like San Diego, I should rephrase that, the Los Angeles Chargers just found themselves a new head coach. Anthony Lynn, the interim coach and offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. So they're going offensively speaking.
And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll get this
So,
to the 26.
hey,
3 yards on the pickup. That's
new start.
An interesting 3rd and about 4 to go.
New whatever. So you know, way to go, LA. You get the Chargers. You moved to LA, and you got yourself a new head coach in one day. Yay! So we'll see how that turns out. But going back to the one thing I was trying to find out earlier is when's the last time, if ever, the home teams in the divisional round all won. And, you know, that's going to be easier said than done. Because, let's see, they have winners and losers, and they don't say who's home and who's away. Okay, let me, good old Google. Maybe you can help me here. Last time that all home teams won divisional round. No, you're not going to help me. Check this and then check this one. Well, we got with 26 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, Pittsburgh has a commanding 17-3 lead in this sloppy game.
Either your receiver gets it or no one gets it. Give him a lot of credit for being really precise with it.
Got rid of it. No one got it.
That's from last year. Like I said, last year, for the first time ever, all 4 wildcard home teams lost. Let's see if this will give me 2,000. All 4 home teams win NFL divisional round weekend for the first time since 2005. Well, when was this article?
7 yards remain now.
Was that last year?
So they'll get a little
oh
extra
yeah.
time to come up with his 3rd down play as we play
wow.
3 quarters.
Well, let me see this.
This is the NFL, and it's on
let's see.
EA Sports.
Yeah, they were the home teams, and those were the home teams. Well, there you go.
Now in KC.
And
It's the
then
Chiefs with a football, but with work to do on the scoreboard, they trail
I
as
think
we start quarter number 4.
it all depends on that one. No, Denver was the home team there. So yeah, I mean, this could be the second straight year that all the home teams win. But when it came to my picks, I had the who I had?
The Steelers insert
I
their
had
nickel defense on
3 of the
third
home
down.
teams winning, and the one road team, Green Bay.
From the gun, here's Smith.
So just a quick recap. Quick recap. I have New England over Houston, Atlanta over Seattle, Kansas City over Pittsburgh, and Green Bay over Dallas. 3 of the 4 home teams I like, and of course, I gotta go with my Packers. So we'll see. We'll see. I feel like 3 of the 4 games will be watchable, while the New England-Houston game would be the only one be like, oh my God, what are we watching? Type thing. So
after that big play, let's see if they can catch their defense maybe on their heels.
so what we got? Do some commentary for the final quarter here. Kansas City's on the move.
On first down, Smith.
Oh, that was a poor pass.
Incomplete. Chris Conley, the intended receiver. That'll bring up second down.
So we got 2nd and 10. Kansas City on the drive on Pittsburgh's 31-yard line with 14:32 left in the game. Kansas City's not out of it yet. They're just only down by 2 touchdowns. Smith takes a snap. He's, so much time, and it always seems like the court. This is the one thing I don't care for Madden purposes. It's like the quarterback's in the pocket. All his receivers are covered up, and he just stands there in the pocket until he gets sacked. It's like, that doesn't happen if you watch and start counting how long they were in the pocket, and just, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. I'm sure half those quarterbacks will start rolling out, scrambling to do something. Because for the most part, that's usually a coverage sack. It's not that the defense got there fast enough. It's just that defensive backs were doing their job. The cornerbacks and the DBs were doing their jobs well enough to allow the defensive line to get to the quarterback.
Very well by the defense, isn't it? Take whatever you want underneath, by all means.
So what we got? We got 4th and 10. 7. They're going to kick a field goal. Yeah, they're going to kick a field goal.
He'll have the win at his back here in the 4th quarter.
To pull within 11.
And Santos able to put this one up and through. It's good. And a second field goal here.
So I mean, they inch ever so closely back.
So in the end, they had the ball for 10 plays, but the drive only yields 3 points.
Yeah, they were able to move the football, but the defense stiffened once their backs were to the end zone, and they were able to hold them to just 3.
So 13-11 left in the game. Kansas City pulls within 11, but Pittsburgh gets the ball back and looking just to, expand their lead.
Santos back out there to kick it away. That's fielded in the
And they will take a knee.
He'll elect not to return this one, so they'll bring it out to the 25 on the touchback. And Pittsburgh getting set to take the field. They've got the lead. Last time had to punt it, though. What's the key to this drive?
I think it's leverage. The big guys up front. The motivation.
So Pittsburgh will start their drive at the 25-yard line. Oh, I know one more fun news story. Okay. Like I've said before, I feel like anytime Seattle's the home team, the referees are biased in their favor. Well, as a Packer backer, it always seems like
Wide open receiver
it always seems like when they're on Fox and they get the Fox's A team, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, to call the games, they're always just a little biased towards the Packers. But it seems, I think that's more in the past than recent, but you know how people are with their short-term memories. But there's been a petition going around that was started by a Packer fan, and the petition reads more or less they don't want Joe Buck and Troy Aikman calling Packer games anymore. It's like, please do not let these two call Packer games, because you know why? They're just so biased. They just say how, you know, Troy Aikman is, you know, he played against the Packers. He played against the Packers in the 90s. So, you know, they're always in favor of he's always a Cowboy backer. And, you know, Packer sucks, something, blah, blah, blah.
2 yards to go here on third down.
And Joe Buck doesn't know what he's talking about. It seems like, what I hear, his Twitter handle, it always seems like whoever Joe Buck is calling, he's biased towards, he's always biased to your team. Let's see. As I heard this or something.
Not at all. Look at the confidence that's exhibited here. With that type of a lead, clock on their side, instead of running it, they're still throwing it, trying to pick up.
Oh yeah, here we go. On Joe Buck's Twitter page, it says, "I love all teams except yours, and I am a lucky bastard." But more or less trying to say he loves every team except yours, apparently, because everyone hates Joe Buck. And I don't know, it may be because his father was an announcer and he's trying to live under his father's shoes, and there's always that you're not as good as your dad type thing or your parents. But yeah, Packer fans, like, I'm mixed. Like, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they don't bother me so much, and but I hear it from time to time. But it's like, in all honesty, all these national announcers, they're annoying. I like listening to the radio as I watch the game, listen to my hometown announcers, because you know what? They're always going to be talking about my, you know, your team, my team, whoever, you know, and like cheering for them when the play goes good, goes well, goes great. And when things are going bad, they try, you know, make you smile and keep you, you know, positive. Be like, boy, well, a tough one today. And just, you know, like, my oh my, like, what's going wrong? What's happening? Type thing. So, you know, and those announcers on the national broadcast games, they gotta be neutral. They gotta be unbiased. They have to, you know, be professional. And just like that, Pittsburgh just extends their lead. But so, another funny story. Speaking of the Packers, going back to the Packer-Giant game, you know, earlier in the week you had Odell Beckham Jr. and company go down to Miami shirtless, blah blah blah. Before their game, shirtless in warm-ups, and it's like, ooh, we're tough. And what happens? Odell Beckham had a couple drop passes. He only had 4, and you know, just didn't look like himself. He dropped at least 2 easily catch, one for a touchdown and one just for a first down or something. And it's like, you know, then he goes, reporters talk to him. Of course, they talk about, you think going to Miami was a big mistake. Of course, he's going to get drilled for that because he did not come out and perform in his first ever playoff game in the NFL. And then apparently after the press conference, he goes and punches a hole in the Packers locker room or by the ground crew's locker room or something like that, and started pounding his head on the wall, and just falls apart. And it's like, jeez. And first and foremost, like, going to Miami, that was not his issue. He just did not perform at a high level that he was expected to in the playoffs. Now, if the Giants make the playoffs again next year, say they win their division, have a home game, and he's just catching balls left and right, getting 2-3 touchdowns, no one's going to remember what happened the year before. He finally lived up to standards. But like at the moment, he's just a big old baby when he can't perform. People drill him on what he does on his free time, and he wants to be this social pop star, but he doesn't want any of the backlash. And you can't have both. You can't have that safe space. So, but we return to action. Down by, what now? By 18. Jeez. With about 10 minutes left in the game, Kansas City is just trying to get out of this hole. I don't know.
So 2nd and 10 here.
Let's see if I can find. Like I said, Kansas City was 6-2 at home.
Conley's got it over the middle.
At least they're moving the ball now.
Reaching the 45-yard line. They call it a gain of 19, and it moves the chains.
One thing I can say pretty safely, that route is not.
Let's see, how did they do in their 8 home games scoring wise?
In the middle of the field, bad things usually happen. It takes a strong-arm guy who can rifle it in there, and they were able to successfully complete that one.
Looks like the defense in press coverage here.
Ooh, I mean, week 1 they had to go into overtime. They were getting blown out by San Diego, but they came back and won 33-27. So that was a close game. Took care of the Jets at home, 24-3. Won a close one against New Orleans, 27-21. Another close one against Jacksonville, 19-14. Then they lose their first home game against Tampa Bay by 2 points, 19-17. They beat Oakland, 21-13. They lost to Tennessee, 17-19. That's some irony there. But then they win their last home game 33-10. So more or less their home victories have been, you only had 2 blowouts, 2 close losses with the same exact score, and the other ones just a 1 possession win. So you're looking at a close game at there we go. Kansas City gets back on the board and puts a little more pressure on Pittsburgh. But you look at their 2 losses against Tampa Bay and Tennessee. Both those teams just barely missed the playoffs. Let's see. I think their only win at home against, they only have 1 playoff. They beat Oakland twice at home, twice at home. They only beat Oakland at home. Excuse me. The only other playoff team that they played at home, and they lost at Houston and lost at Pittsburgh. I don't think they played New England. I don't think they played Miami. And they played Oakland twice, and they beat them twice. So I mean, they're 1-2 against playoff teams, but the other 2 playoff teams were on the road, and that was back in week 4 and week 2. So totally different team. And Kansas City has home field advantage. Only losing, like I said, losing 2 games against 2 teams that just barely missed the playoffs. So
Oh, nice move.
Ooh.
And the decision
Now
to bring it out
Pittsburgh,
is
on the other
gonna cost
hand,
him
they
about
were
7 yards
4-4 on the
total as he's
road,
taken down back shy of the 20.
and let's
The
see.
Chiefs defense here ready to head
They
back out on
blew
the
out
field.
Washington on
See
the
if they can
road. They
regroup
lost
a
to
little bit.
Philly
They gave up the
34 to
touchdown last
3.
drive.
And you know from our meetings
They
with
lost
coaches
to
all
they lost
across the
at
league,
Miami
one of their pet
30 to
peeves,
15.
when teams
They
get
lost
down,
at
a lot of these
Baltimore
guys now, they want to treat it like it's a
21
video
to
game or
14, and that
something.
was only a
Hit
7-point
reset, let's
loss.
start over, coach.
And
The
then they
first two
won the rest
series,
of
they
their
don't even
road
matter now.
games,
Let's
where
play
they
again.
won
That's not
at
how it
Cincinnati
works.
24 to
You're
20.
down,
They
you
won
gave
at
up a
Buffalo
touchdown, you
27
can't
to
do it
20.
again. You have to dig
They won
in,
at
grit it out,
Indianapolis
and burn it
28 to
out.
7. They won
Reset
at
buttons.
Cleveland 24 to
It's driving
9.
everybody crazy. There are no reset buttons when you're playing in this game.
So,
Preach,
I
Chucky,
mean,
preach. A
the
gain of
at
3,
Cleveland,
second down.
at Indianapolis, easy games.
Not
Took
a
care
big
of
run
them.
on the first play of the drive, that
But
doesn't
at
necessarily
Buffalo,
mean it was a
at
bad
Cincinnati,
play.
kind of
Sometimes you're just trying to
close.
settle in,
But,
get
you
your
know,
guys a
still,
little bit
they
of
took care of
contact
business and
and get
won.
things moving.
So the offense
So
now dealing
this
with
is
a
going to be,
second
I
and
think,
7.
a much closer game. It might be 24 to 13 at one point. I mean, not taking anything away from Pittsburgh and nothing away from Kansas City.
Down, here's Roethlisberger.
Oh,
And Green with a catch left side.
I
It's a
think
gain
he's
of
short.
7,
That's,
and that'll bring up what
yeah,
looks to
3rd
be a
inches. So,
3rd and inches. Can't
I
be
mean,
more
Kansas
than a
City,
half a
Kansas City
foot.
needs to make a
Boy,
stop
the
here.
evolution of the
Kansas
game
City
and
gets
how
a
these
stop
guys in
on
plays
3rd
like
and
that
inches,
can get out
forces
of the
the
pocket,
punt,
keep plays alive. It just makes
gets
things
another
so
touchdown.
much
They're within
harder for
4.
defenses.
It really
Field
does.
goal,
And we're talking about an era in the game where the quarterbacks are the
they're
most athletically
then
gifted
8,
that
one
we've seen
possession,
in a
a
bunch.
touchdown
I
and
mean,
2
when you talk
points.
about
But
collectively, it's unbelievable.
they've turned
So
this game to a
their
2-possession
ability to
game, but
move
they
is
need to
practice.
stop
It's not
Pittsburgh right
necessarily,
here to
oh,
get
he
the
just
ball
took
back.
off and you
They
guys
want any
figure it
promises.
out.
And
When he takes
look at all
off,
that time
everyone
Big
knows
Ben
where to
has in the
go now.
pocket.
They know how to run routes,
And when you
change
give a
things,
quarterback
make
so much
themselves
time in the
presentable for the
pocket,
quarterback.
or if he
It's a
starts
lot
rolling
of
around
time that
and
they
keeping
put
the
in
play
on it.
alive,
It's not just your
you know,
static 1, 2,
they're
3.
going,
This is where
sooner
the
or
ball
later,
goes
complete a pass.
anymore.
And just
A
like
good
that,
grab
wide
there
open
by
to
the
his
former
wide
Central
receiver, Antonio
Michigan
Brown.
man, Antonio Brown.
Should
And he had
start
some real
counting.
estate on the
That was at
catch,
least
too,
5
didn't he?
seconds in the
I
pocket
think
with
the most
nobody
impressive
putting
part
pressure
about
on him.
though, if there's a chance
And
for
then
him to
what?
get the
There's
football,
2,
even though he was
4,
covered
6
well, he
defenders
somehow
on
finds a
Antonio
way to
Brown
get
are in
it.
the area. Jeez. Now Pittsburgh can go back, say to the ground game, take time off that
First
clock.
down and 10 now for the offensive group.
6:20 or so and counting. Kansas City's running out of time. And
Now
oh,
fake
play
here on
action.
first down. And he's
Oh,
got a straight
just a
target yet
nice,
again. It's
beautiful
complete.
catch. The
And a nice
Brown
gain
right
to
there.
21 yards. A great job
Was he
pulling that
8
one
for
in from a guy,
141
as
and
we
1
know,
touchdown?
who can really blaze.
That
He's got a lot of
sounds
speed.
like Antonio
And
Brown
that
numbers
speed
to
can work
me.
for him so many different ways. Sometimes he just takes off and goes.
6 minutes and counting. When will Kansas City
Sometimes you get
start
people to
using
back
their
off so far that
timeouts?
you can catch everything underneath. But still, at some point in the game, you probably have to make some contested catches, right? Sometimes
Oh,
you
we
have to
got
go up and
2
beat
to
a
the right,
defender
1
for
to the left, and a
He has that in his arsenal as
shotgun.
well.
And oh, this time they hand it off to Bell, and Bell gets
only a
wrapped
yard
up
this
easily.
time as he's taken down right around the 26.
So we got nearing the 5-minute mark. I mean, Pittsburgh is just chewing up the clock right here. Only a 2-yard gain by Bell. Kansas City's defense needs to show up.
First here on second down.
Now 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Shotgun, and Bell still back there to the left of Roethlisberger. Direct snap, throws. Oh, stays in bounds. That's a plus. But shy of the first down. So 3rd and 4.
If you're running out route,
Woo.
it's likely you're going to end up near the sideline. And what did we
And
just
then
see
there's
there?
the cheerleader coach, Tom
You
Coughlin,
got it.
according
The
to
benefits
Terry
of
Bradshaw.
practice, tapping, foot
I
dragging, picking
I
it
forget
up,
what the
making
whole
sure
story
it
of that
was
was, but it's found it so funny that Terry Bradshaw calls Tom Coughlin. Oh, that's not his name.
From the gun on third down, it's Roethlisberger.
And of
Quick
course,
throw here, that's
Pittsburgh gets the
complete.
first down.
Give him 6 yards, and they do convert on third.
But
And that pickup of a first down, that's going to leave
just
them
calling
up
him a
because
cheerleader coach,
they really needed to stop them
which
there,
I'm
didn't
not
they?
even sure what
So
that's supposed to
frustrating
mean.
defensively. You're a play away from getting that football back here, down late, tough.
Now they've got to find a way to create a turnover or takeaway. Otherwise,
It's
this will
Tom,
easily
isn't
get
it?
away from them.
Mike Tomlin, that's it. Mike Tomlin, the cheerleader coach. Hoorah, rah.
Play action here on first down. Can't find anyone open.
And that's more or less the game right there.
Touchdown. Eli Rogers, a 15-yard touchdown grab.
With 3:33 left in the game,
They were still throwing with a comfortable lead here late, and now that
Pittsburgh.
lead even more comfortable.
And your first thought is there bad blood that went into this one ahead of time, that maybe they're seeking some revenge or they just don't like them? But the other thing that always hits me is, are they
Pittsburgh will go back up by 18
position?
with
Are they worried about, do you need
3:33
enough
left in the
points
game.
There's a tiebreaker that comes into play later.
And they're able to up the lead
Kansas
by
City's
one more.
defense has not shown up in this game. And we'll see if the Steelers can stay red hot.
Takes them down the field in 8 plays, and it ends with a Pittsburgh
So,
touchdown.
like I said before, I think the games this weekend, 3 of the 4 sound wonderful, sound awesome to watch. Houston, New England. Well, if you just want to see a clinic, just tune in to watch that one. I'd be surprised if Houston can keep it within a score. But otherwise, I say that game is going to end at least by 4 possessions.
This is fielded at the chalk of the 10. Solid return, pretty good field position.
So,
They'll start at the 32
let's see, not a 28-point victory, but say a 24
And now here comes Kansas City.
or
And
so
that
point
last
victory.
drive, a
I just
long
think
drive, but not just that, they had a great
I think
air
New
attack
England's
going.
going to win that
They
game.
stick
Say
I would think that they would, because if they were
I'm just going to throw a number 31-3.
Why would you change anything? They've got to be confident about what they're
I think New
presenting
England,
and
or
continue
I think
to
Houston
do
will
so.
score some points, but
They really look close.
I mean, in all honesty, we'll see. It'll put Brock Osweiler to the test. Brock Osweiler did beat the Patriots when he was the quarterback, stepping in for Peyton on a Sunday night game
And his throw's gonna be incomplete.
last year, but that was last year and this year. And that was the regular season. This is postseason play. We'll see.
And on the outside, they're playing press coverage. Back to the air, Smith on second down. And he's going to be out of bounds up around the 45-yard line.
Did he make the catch? Oh, yes, he did.
13 yards, and it moves the sticks.
That was a really nice job there, stretching zone coverage by running that route deep enough before breaking it back towards the sideline and being open.
And a precise throw.
So
for
first and 10
the
for
first.
Kansas City at their own 45 with 3:22 left. Not much time. They have all 3 timeouts.
They come up in an empty
They need a
set.
touchdown.
4 wide
There's no
receivers,
doubt about it.
one tight end.
They need a touchdown on this drive. They got 4 to the right, 1 to the left. All the time in the world, and
Throw's gonna be incomplete.
throw it right to the defender.
There are a good number of coaches that any time they call an in route are really worried about the play because there's so much traffic ordinarily that the ball has to get through to get to the receiver. And on that play, it was batted down.
So the incomplete pass brings up second
So,
down.
well, we got 3:18 left, second and 10. 3 to the right, 1 to the left, and the
Throwing again
running
is
back.
Smith.
Lots of time, but under pressure, and he is sacked.
Pressure too much here. He's gonna go down.
No one
Stephon
covered him.
Tuitt in there
He
to
had like
drop him.
3-4
And
seconds
only
in the
loss of
pocket until he was
about 8.
wrapped up
He
by
didn't get
number
rid of the football
91,
there,
and
took
Andy
the
Reid, of
sack.
course,
That's
is not
easier
too
said
happy.
than done. He can't just chuck the thing sideways into the seats.
No, he really can't, because you're not afforded total protection as a quarterback. You have to get outside of the tackle boxes as defined by the
Oh,
NFL.
I can't wait
Meaning
for
wherever your tackles
these
operate
weekends
normally,
games.
get
It's going to be
outside of
fun.
that,
It's going to be
and
exciting.
The ball that you throw has to get back to at least the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, you face an intentional grounding call.
Big sack on second down. Now the offense needs to convert here on third. From the gun, here's Smith.
Oh, only a 3-man rush. Oh, and they do get the first down with 2.5 left and counting. And Kansas City does not seem to be in any hurry at all.
And that's why they lit up a little bit in our meetings with the coaching staff.
I find it funny that Pittsburgh only rushed 3, dropped 8 back, and they still gave up the first down.
They expect a pretty good jump out of him as things continue to move on.
Getting late in the fourth now, Charles. 2-minute warning just around the corner.
Will they get the ball off before 2-minute warning?
Take a breath and then come out and attack for the rest of the game.
Nope.
Time for a break. We'll come back and see.
I know last year in the divisional round, when Kansas City was at New England, they just had poor time management. And in this game, I know it's just a simulation, they poor clock management. It doesn't seem like in men, even down by, 18, there's no hustle. There's no, like, say, hurry up offense until you get to a 2-minute warning. And I bet you Kansas City, they're just, if it's completed, they're just going to hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
On 1st and 10, Smith surveying the field.
And he just throws it away. Wow.
Seeing no options, he throws it away.
Let's face it, you can run the route tree as many times as you want, get in sync, practice it, do all those things. But once you get to game speed, it doesn't always.
So 2nd and 10 at Pittsburgh's 44, $1:55 left in the game. Looks like Pittsburgh is going to be heading off to New England. Well, like I said, if New England loses to Houston, maybe they should pick up and move to San Diego. But here's the hurry up now. Yeah, now Kansas City's in a hurry. They complete the pass, clock's running. So stupid. And there's another first. Finally, they got first down. And they hurry up again. And I bet you if men can figure a way to, to do that, get that sense of urgency, that game mechanic, I bet you Kansas City would have been doing that all game, at least in the fourth. But at the moment, it looks like Pittsburgh will be packing up their bags and heading up to Foxborough, taking on the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Like I said last week or a couple times before, and I'll say again that next week doing double duty, doing NFC Championship game and AFC Championship game simulation. Then I haven't quite decided if I'm going to do the third place game, the losers of the championship game, or not. Oh, nearly intercepted, deflected between championship weekend or championship Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday.
Absolutely break your heart. They had everything they wanted, just unable to complete it in the end zone.
So what we got? We got 4th and 2. Well, they could have went for a field goal, but within was that false start or offsides?
They may have to rethink their plans on 4th down.
False start on the offense. 4th and 7 with 1 minute left. Now, the one thing I'll hate is, I'll say, Kansas City does not convert on first down. Turnover on down. Pittsburgh gets the ball with a minute left. It's not worth Kansas City to waste all 3 of their timeouts, in my opinion. They know they're done.
Here in the last quarter. Let's see how this plays out.
But we'll see.
Desperation time for Smith on 4th down.
Oh, hits his receiver, comes down with it at the 8-yard line. Clock's ticking though. They got to hurry up to that line. 50 seconds and counting.
They've got a 1st and goal. And the offense moving quickly to the line.
And back of the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City. A little late than never. And of course, act like you've never been there before and just start throwing your hands in the air.
But I think it counts more for the fantasy guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just something maybe positive to look at on film, but this one's over, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think I agree with you totally on that one.
So there's a few highlights of the touchdown catch. Send out the extra point unit. Or do you go for 2? Nope.
And that one makes this
Hey, 11-point difference. Now Kansas City rushes out their onside unit.
So that drive spans 13 plays.
If they get the onside kick and get a touchdown without using their timeouts and go for another onside kick and recover that, they might have a chance. But it's Kansas City in this game did not use the clock to their advantage. And like I said before, their only 2 losses earlier in the year at home were a 2-point margin of loss, and that was 19 to 17.
Down, time definitely not an ally, but here comes the onside kick.
And Pittsburgh recovers it. And I mean, even if, well, no.
They had to have that onside kick. They didn't get it.
I mean, that would force a 4th down, and Kansas City uses all 3 of their timeouts. I mean, they'll still have to punt it away. But I mean, it's.
We did indeed. I think we're down to none. The Steelers offense now, they get ready to head
Steelers can't afford to get 1st down right away.
Here for the defense. Obviously, they'll be looking to stop them from punching it back in the end zone.
It always is punch counter punch, isn't it? And which team has
no,
the advantage?
if they get 1st down.
Last time on offense, they rolled downfield, got into a good rhythm. You can see a little more bounce in and out of the huddle. You can see the
first, second, third, yeah.
So defensively, you're thinking to yourself, how do we take that?
But if they get 1st down, game is over. Handoff, bells wrapped up, and of course, Kansas City calls a timeout.
It's just their first. They've got 2 more to use.
It's better late than never, I guess. Only down by 11 with 40 seconds left. Let's start calling timeouts because we couldn't get the onside kick. We weren't in any hurry early in the 4th quarter when we hit the ball.
They're back and set as we resume play.
So what we got? 2nd and 8 at Kansas City's 41. Pittsburgh they're just talking about travel plans. Get back to Pittsburgh, have a couple cool adult beverages, celebrate the victory, think about how they can go up against New England, go to Foxborough and beat them, and go back to the Super Bowl. Another timeout. Ooh. Kansas City's thinking to themselves, like, how did we let this happen? I mean, yes, we were a little more competitive than we were in Week 4. We're home. We have one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. We have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And we let these 3 Bs run all over us. And Andy Reid's just thinking to himself, either he wants a Kool-Aid or how itchy that mustache is. So what we got, 3rd and 7 at the 39. Kansas City's 39, 34 seconds left. A 1st down will end it. Man, they're really taking their sweet time. There's the break from the huddle.
33 on 3rd down.
And it's always a real question. Do you run it? Do you pass it? And hand off to Bell. Bell. Oh, is he? He is 1 yard shy of the 1st down. And you know what? If I'm Pittsburgh, Kansas City's out timeouts. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'd go for it. Because you get the 1st down, time just runs out. You punt it or kick a field. Oh, are they going to try a field goal? Oh, that'd be just a little insult to injury. But I think they should just go for it, try to get that 1st down, run the clock out. That's what I would do. But, since this is a game, a simulation, we don't know what the computer's thinking. Insult to injury right here. Here we go, 50-yard field goal attempt, snap, place, kick is up, and it is no good. Falls way short, so Kansas City has 25 seconds to score 11 points.
conditions. Yeah, and in a downpour like we're in right now, it makes it that much
And
harder. And sure
you know, when I say
enough,
that, I say it's far from it. So Kansas City takes the ball over at their own 40.
Offense, they get ready to head on the field. What do you do here down like this in this situation? Do you maybe just pick something out of the playbook you haven't called in a while, or you call it a day?
You can do that. Or you
So
pick
what we
something
got?
that's a
Kansas
staple
City,
for you
plenty of
and should work
time.
better and try and execute
Hits
that
his
on the way
receiver in
out
the
the
middle of
door.
the
Maybe get
field.
back to base
Clock's
and feel a
ticking.
little bit
17,
better.
16,
It's
15,
a
14,
frustrating
13,
one for you.
12,
See if they go back to
11,
base.
10,
Looking to speed things up here,
9,
going with
8,
some
7, and he
tempo.
spikes the
And
ball
now he
with
stops it
7
with a
seconds
spike. 8
left.
seconds.
I'm gonna have to say next play. That's the game. So a little disappointed on this one, how Man, but we'll see how Man does. I mean, even if Man gets this one wrong, it can be back at even after next week with both championship games.
Here's Smith now on second down.
Oh, and it's
And a hit
incomplete
turned it loose.
with
It's
1 second
incomplete.
left.
Jeremy Macklin, the intended receiver. And that'll make it third down.
Just take a knee,
You
Kansas
know it's
City.
not an easy job to go out and
Get out of
catch
your
passes when
misery.
people are trying to tackle you and knock the
Just
ball
end your
away.
misery.
But the bottom
That's all
line
that
is,
you
that's a pass
should
he's
worry about
gotta
right now.
have and a pass he should have caught.
So incomplete on second down. Now they'll look to convert here on third.
So 3rd and 10,
Last throw here for
final
Smith.
second, and there's a
He's
penalty
got
on the
time.
play.
Now a desperation throw.
It's
deep
caught.
downfield. And this is dropped it incomplete.
Oh, dropped.
Well,
But what's the
there's a
flag?
metaphor for how this one is gone. As time has run out on this ball game.
Holding on the offense. Penalty is on the defense. Oh, so we have one more untimed play, which is pointless.
So the offense has it first and
I don't
10.
know. I don't know if I would accept that or deny it, because I mean, it's not like if you score, you get the win or a tie.
One final shot.
It lobs up there and it is incomplete. There's your game.
As time has run out on this football game. Well, Charles, the forecast called for rain throughout the entire game.
So,
and we got rain throughout
Pittsburgh
the entire
is your
game.
winner here.
These two teams, they had
The
fun during
AFC's
the
red hot
slot.
team
Did you trust the forecast ahead of
winning,
time, or are you one of those guys that's skeptical?
ending out the season with 7 straight wins and continuing it with their 8th straight in the wild card weekend.
That's why I'm glad you
Madden
took my
is
advice.
saying,
Get your notes laminated, 'cause you know
Madden
what
is
they're
predicting that
That rain can affect us
that
as well, although
that
not as
8
much as
becomes
the
a
guys on the
9 and they
field.
head on
But
to
let's
the
face it, it's kinda fun to
AFC
watch these
Championship
games.
game.
It is. By the way,
Whoever may
how
win,
impressive is
either
it that
they'll
you travel
host
with a laminator?
or
I didn't even know there was a
head.
portable
Either they will
laminator.
host
The
Houston
things that you learn.
Golly,
or-
wise beyond his years.
or they head to New England, and I would have to pick the latter of that two, that they would head to New England. But we'll see. We shall see come Sunday, especially if the forecast
So that'll do it
is
for
true.
us. For Charles Davis and all our crew,
Um,
Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL on EA Sports. From Kansas
So-
City, so long, everybody.
See if Madden can redeem himself this week. If not, well, who knows. But your finalists, Pittsburgh 31, Kansas City 20. Just have to pay attention and watch and see what happens this weekend. So thanks for watching. Until next time, got a doubleheader next week with the NFC and AFC championship games. So until then, see ya.